Yo, JD here, Limitless, and as you can see, we are back on F1 2021 as always, and today we are showing an open lobby race, a 25% race from Portimao, which I did this race quite a while ago, but I think it's quite a significant one and hopefully you enjoy it. I will be showing the complete full race as I typically do, as people seem to enjoy that, and as I said many times, I feel this is the best way that I learn how to drive myself. So we're going to be starting on the back, starting on the medium tyres, and you can see no one in front of me within, well, now there is EXR stonks, but most people start on the softs round here, and you can see by the title of this video, and as you watch this video, you will understand why that is the case, because I did a video recently, very recently, of Mexico, why it is probably one of the most powerful alternate strategies. I'd say Portimao is probably one of the weakest alternate strategies, and if I was in F1 esports and I was on pole, I would start on softs, go around here, and we will be explaining why as we go through this video. But in the meantime, up into P17 from P19, and you can see this guy, PRT, or the Ferrari, whoever that was, just showing us a textbook definition of why the mediums are very, very difficult to control around here. They are like ice. They just have absolutely no grip compared to these soft tires, and it's kind of like a Mexico kind of scenario. But since the tire wear isn't particularly high here, you will see as the race goes on that it's actually, the alternate strategy is not really that significant, and it's so twisty, it's so hard to overtake. The ERS, you really have to manage it around here, and the main thing, as I said, is that the tyre wear is pretty minimal. As we were thinking about going to the inside here, it's just very difficult to make progress around here. And you can see the soft runners, you can see there's a bit of a gap between the soft runners and the medium runners already up at the front, and we're trying to get past this guy. Luckily he ghosted, otherwise that would have been very bad for our race. But now we're up into P13 now, and coming through into here, you can see we've got a lot of medium runners up ahead, but we've got a soft runner behind, and he is absolutely hounding me at this stage. And as I just said, I think because the track is so twisty and it's so hard to overtake, but the wear is actually fairly low, you don't really reap the benefits of like a Mexico where the wear is pretty high. The power of the softs is just not that much of a big factor. They're still powerful at the end of the race, but I think because of how powerful they are at the beginning, you can see we've got a very big gap between myself and the leaders at this stage. It's just very hard to make it work. So honestly, if I was starting near the front in F1 esports, I would just go on the softs as we're going down the inside of this guy. So a really nice move here. But again, just showing how difficult it is to overtake, because it's just so easy for people to get a switchback on you as well. We've got a DRS zone here, so we have to go around the outside of him, going up into P12 temporarily. We've been caught behind this AlphaTauri, and we haven't been able to make the move stick. So progress is very hard around this track, as trying to go 3 wide into this turn 8 is just not gonna happen. But we managed to slip through on this AlphaTauri. Are we going to go down the inside of the Alfa Romeo? Yes, we do, but a very awkward corner to overtake up, because then he could just get the inside. So again, it's really hard to make a full committed move, because people are just, there's just so much space to hold it around the outside, because when you go for a left-hander, then there's a right-hander immediately afterwards. It's just very easy to defend the position. And then we've got this very long straight. We've got a DRS zone and a very awkward turn 1, and you can see how much of the battery we're using. We almost ran out of deployment on that lap. Luckily, Rubik's Cube doesn't have DRS, so we're able to get the move done on him. And now we are up into P10. So The goal now is to try and get in the DRS zone of Woody Doctor up ahead as we run out wide. So that's our first time invalidation, and track limits are quite a big issue around here as well. I really struggle with this track. I think I've won quite a few races, but it's always been very hard to win a race, and quite often I always miss out just barely on winning the race here, as another example of how difficult the softs are, as he completely loses control. And now we have a run of soft runners up ahead, so I've got to try and get as close as I possibly can. You can see there's quite a big gap, because I think pretty much everyone up here is on soft tyres, I believe. I don't think there's many medium runners up here at all, so I'm going to try and get as close as I possibly can. Running a bit lower on the downforce, so I have some good straight line speed, but all these guys have DRS on each other. To go across the line, we do an 18.7. You can see the guys behind already have a series of time penalties, as it looks like it's going almost 3 wide into there. The AlphaTauri came off worse of FLK8, who is a YouTube member of mine, which leads me to say, if you want to be first priority invites to these lobbies, then please click that join button. Join my YouTube membership, where you get access to my Discord, my full range of setups, my updated setups, but you also get first priority invites to these open lobbies on Xbox and PC. And plus, you could just ping me any question you want as well. But moving back into this, we are in P8, trying to get within the DRS zone of the McLaren up ahead. And you can see the soft tyres are still very good at this stage, because the wear is not high, unlike in Mexico, where the main power of the tyres, or the main benefit of the tyres, distinguishes very quickly. Round here they don't. And as I said, the softs versus mediums at the end, fresh softs are still powerful, but they're not powerful enough. Not like a Monza, a China, or Mexico, where the alternate strategy really is such a superior strategy. But round here, and on this game in general, I think the alternate strategy isn't as powerful as it was. But I think especially round here, I really haven't found it to be OP or anything whatsoever. I think you're actually making it a bit harder for yourself. But if you do start near the back, then I would probably still maybe would do it, just in case there's a lot of traffic and battles and you're able to keep up with the soft runners. But if I was starting nearer the front, then, and part firmware was off like it is in esports, then I probably wouldn't be going on the medium tyres. But we will probably see people do that, like Jarno Opmeer, because there is F1 esports coming up at this race soon. But I really do feel that the soft tyres would be the right choice for this track. But we're coming up to the McLaren here, trying to get within his DRS zone. We've got another guy called Marcus 4097, who is on the medium tyres up ahead, so he's actually got quite good pace. We have EXR Stonks behind, who's another very fast driver. LOA Maris does an 18.4. I can confirm he is on the soft tyres as well, so the softs are still working very well, and I know he's a very fast driver himself. So coming through into here, need to be as close as we possibly can. Wasn't thinking about making the move here, but just trying to set him up for this DRS zone. So trying to get a good switch back on him. He loses the car, and we've lost so much time. And EXR Stonks, unfortunately, is a victim to me slamming on the brakes there. So very unlucky to him, and that's caused us to lose quite a lot of time. You can see we've lost well over a second to Marcus there, and I thought he was going to ghost, but the game's a little bit unpredictable. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, as the other McLaren seems to be having a coffee break going through into here. But now we're just going to keep on pushing on into this corner, which is just such a, I find a very difficult corner. Seems to just go on absolutely forever, but I really enjoy this one. We have to hook the curb on the inside. This one, really just want to carry as much speed as you possibly can. And now we are kind of in a no man's land, where we have no threat from behind, and a big gap in front. So we just got to try and keep it consistent. You can see the deployment, although we were running quite a low downforce. I think we were running 410 wings for this, just for to get that extra straight line speed. It's still very easy to use all your deployment in a lap around this track. So overtaking, and I suspect in F1 Esports, it's going to be very, very difficult around this track, because if you use all of your ERS to overtake someone, then you pretty much have nothing left, and it's really, really hard to recoup it, because you are going flat out for quite a lot of this lap. Plus the nature of the track is very, very twisty as well. It's really, really hard to overtake around here, I think, in my opinion. But you can see we're not gaining that much on the soft runner up ahead. The gap behind, we are extended very slightly, going very wide here, so that's not what you want. But the good thing is we still don't have a time penalty at this stage. So everyone in front, you can see on the top left, has a penalty, and everyone behind as well. So we're right in the middle, going very, very wide through this corner. And this is the time where people might think to maybe start pitting, but since they've got quite a good lead on the softs, everyone still continues going across the line. What do? We do a 19.0. Let's see how much time we can actually close in on Websy, who's another YouTube member of mine, a good friend of mine as well, and very good driver who's still developing his progress. But you can see the softs are still in a relatively good condition at this stage here, trying to conserve the ERS as much as possible whilst we are slowly pulling away from the cars behind. So it's really until about lap 10 is when the softs do start to slowly start to deteriorate. So coming through into here, very, very tricky corner. It's Woody, who's obviously pitted quite early, sets the fastest lap off the race here. And now we're starting to close in on this Marcus, who does have good pace. So he's got very good pace, but I do think he's been dragged along just a little bit by Websy, who now his tyres are starting to go off here. So we're going to try and be as close as we possibly can. You can see the leaders are still a very, very long way away, and they are both on soft tyres, as well as I believe they are both pitted now. So that's actually Goxie 25 and LOA Maris, who I race with on a regular basis. You can see they both have pitted. They were on the soft tyres, as Maris looks like he's actually gone onto the hards by accident. So as we get our second time invalidation here, so really not what you want to do, because as I always say, I try and treat these races as if I am doing a league race. So you definitely don't want to be getting 2 warnings in the first 10 laps. I typically try and get through the first stint without any warnings, and if I really need to catch someone, then I will risk it a bit more of the track limits. And then if the last 2 laps are, and then we get that's our third one, so that is a time penalty, and that is a very, very big hindrance to our race here, because those guys are going to go on the mediums, and we could have maybe came back at the end of this race and only just needed to get within 3 seconds. So now we have to do it on track as well. So I was really, really desperate to catch up to Marcus here, but you can see we're really struggling through this penultimate corner. If you get on the wrong line, then you just wash out wide very, very, very badly. But coming into here, we decided to pit because I didn't want to let Marcus have an undercut made, because he seemed to have quite good pace. So I wanted to pit at the same time as him. Otherwise, just having a lap pressure softs wouldn't have that much benefit, and we really need to try and catch the leaders as soon as we can. As you can see, they are both coming through now. Goxie is on the mediums, Maris on the hards, which I believe is a mistake by him. So coming out the pits now, let's see where we come. We've gone back into P6, but the good thing is, I think we should be almost within this DRS zone. So really try hard to get within this DRS zone, which the detection point is here. So really crucial that we do that. But we've come out behind 2 slower cars, so we do have the DRS, so we don't have to use anything here. But would have been nice if we didn't come behind these 2 cars. So you're about to see the sus are powerful initially, but they are not like a China, Monza, or Mexico in terms of how OP it is. You can see the leaders are still a long way ahead here, so we really got to try and get a move on now. So you can see, using the ERS, I'm going to go down the inside of Websy here. Very awkward corner to do it because it's very easy to hold it around the outside, but we get that move done. And it's very important we did that because then we are going to get the DRS on this guy, Gary the GOAT, up ahead of us, who is on the medium tyres. So trying to get a good exit here. But again, since you're going at such a high speed already as you hit the DRS zone, if they defend with ERS, it's actually very difficult to overtake, rather than if you came from a much lower speed. So he defends, which is good, because that means we can use the racing line and then get this move done. Now we've got to try and catch up to Marcus, and you can see the gap up ahead is 6 seconds to Maris, who is still right behind Goxley. So that's the target we have to aim for. We've got to try and close in on this Ferrari up ahead, who has really good pace, I have to say. So, but we're going to try and do the best we can here. Really trying to throw the kitchen sink at it now because we have to overtake all these cars on track as well. But you can see at the moment the gap is kind of stabilizing between myself and Marcus. So we're not using all of our ERS here because I want to try and save it for when I hopefully catch these guys. You can see we catched Maris by about 8 tenths already on this lap. So far, so good, but we need to be catching him at this rate every single lap. So we're using the ERS here. You can see we've almost run out of deployment in this lap. And you can see we're down to about 34%, if I can read it correctly. We do set the fastest lap of the race of a 17.2. So I'm going to try and catch Marcus without using much of my ERS here. So the gap is about 1.6 seconds. Let's see what it is as we go in a little bit deep. So that's really not going to help us achieve what we want to do. Running out wide once again. So 2 more of those and it will actually be a 6-second time penalty. So really having to push as hard as I can now. But you can see we're closing it again. But you can see Maris, even on the hard tyres, the gap isn't coming down that much just that, but I imagine through this twisty section, it will start to come down a little bit more because I think it was 5.1 at the start of this lap here. So coming through into score, do we do this well? Yes, we do. That's definitely a little bit more like it. And you can see we gained about 2 or 3 attempts through that corner alone. Try and hook the inside. We actually miss the apex here. Now going through into this penultimate corner, hooking the inside pretty nicely, and we are going to use no ERS on its exit because I am running quite low downforce. So I'm going to try and let the wings do the work for me. As you can see, we are actually catching him on the delta without using any of the ERS. So sometimes I always try and anticipate if the people ahead have used quite a lot of the battery, so that means I don't really use it myself. So when I do come up to them, it should be quite an easy overtake. So this lap, I'm going to try and get within the DRS zone of Marcus without using any of the ERS. So coming through into here, the gap is 4.5, so it's not coming down that quickly to the guys up ahead, which shows again that the alternate strategy isn't that OP. At the start of the race, where you have a bit heavier fuel and everything as well, and you're going through the traffic, and if you're on the mediums, you're going to be stuck in the traffic and you're probably going to be swamped by these soft runners. In clear air, the softs at the start of the race are just very good here. So I'm trying my hardest to get within the DRS zone of Marcus here. So really crucial that we hook up this corner nicely. Do we hit this curb? Yes, we do. But it's going through this penultimate corner. Really need to get this right here. But this is a corner I really struggle with. Are we going to be close enough? Are we going to get within the second? Yes, we do. That is the detection point right here. So we decide to turn off our ERS. And you can see the DRS is enabled now here. So the gap is now down to 3.1 seconds to the leaders. I have to get past Marcus on this next lap. Ideally on the start-finish straight. So really crucial that I am super close to him on the exit coming on to the main straight here. So we've got another dose of the DRS here. Gap is now 3 seconds up to the cars ahead, staying in third gear accidentally, but actually still got quite a good exit coming off this corner. And you can see the guys behind Websy, they haven't actually lost that much time considering we were on the fresher soft. So again, just shows the softs, I feel, are just definitely much more beneficial at the start of the race rather than when you pit a little bit later. So coming through into here, the goal is to try and be as close as we possibly can to Marcus here. The gap is still 3 seconds up to Morris up ahead, and Goxley, who I both know are very, very good fast drivers. So coming off here, as I said before, it's much harder to overtake when your speed is much higher, because when they use the overtake button, it's much easier for them to defend here. And you can see he's going quite defensive. There's no way we are going to be close enough to make a move down into this turn 1, so we really need to get the move done very, very soon. But you can see his red light is flashing, so he is quite low on the battery power, so being very, very close into here. Really need to get a good exit coming off this corner, but we're just not able to, because the dirty air is quite significant around here in the key corners, kind of like Silverstone in a way. It's just very, very difficult to overtake around here. If you don't have a significant pace advantage, I think you'll find in esports it's going to be very, very difficult to overtake, which is why I think track position is very key. See, the gap has come down to 2.5 seconds. If only we didn't have this time penalty, then we could maybe be in a position, but you don't know what can happen on this last lap as well. So coming through into here, he goes slightly wide, so we're going to try and be a bit closer this time, and let's see if we get a good exit. He goes in a little bit early, so we go on the throttle a bit earlier than him. Now we are going to use the ERS. He doesn't have much of the battery, we know he doesn't, but still, because you're traveling at that high speed, it's going to be very, very difficult. Now he has nothing going down the straight. Does he go defensive? No, he doesn't. So we go back to the race line. The gap is under 3 seconds. If only we didn't have this penalty, showing you how important it is not to get a penalty, especially in our open lobbies and stuff as well, and just non-esport races. It can really bump up your position quite significantly. So we're going to do our best to try and catch these guys, almost matching our best first sector here. But you can see the mediums and even the hards are still keeping up very well, because the softs, this is where they start to lose their power a bit more. So again, I really do feel that if you're starting near the front at Portimao, then bang on a set of softs and just go as long as possible, because then the mediums are a very, very consistent tyre. It's just that they just take so long at the start of the race to really warm up to where you want it to be. As Morris has actually gone off track a little bit here, we have closed in, so we did a really good job to close in, because the gap was absolutely huge at one stage. But we have closed in, but we just haven't had enough to do what we wanted to do. We are going to get the DRS here. Going across the line, it's going to be Goxy 25 who wins this race. Morris in second, myself in third, and that was hard work. For the alternate strategy, as I said, if that was China, Monza, Mexico, you usually win by like over 5, maybe even 10 seconds at those tracks if you are able to keep a good pace in the first stint. And we didn't lose that much time in the first stint either. So I think due to the nature of the track and how the tyre compounds work around here, I really feel this is probably one of the weakest tracks for the alternate strategy. But once again, thank you so much for the support on the channel. I really hope you learned something here. Make sure you follow me on Twitch, because I will be streaming open lobbies daily, and if you want to be a part of that, first priority invite, then please join my YouTube membership as well. I hope you're having a great day. I'll catch you on Friday for another video, and see you soon. Peace.